Um, wow, this is one of my favorite things we're doing this season, because it gets to the educational aspect of the theater, because we're using those charities that really relate to the message we're trying to bring home in a specific production. So it's telling people in a really visceral way what the issue is that this charity is concerned about. And it will make that come alive for them in a way that will touch them and educate them on whatever serious issue there is. With A Doll's House, we're teaming with Lighthouse of Oakland County to talk about repressed women, and women who are not free to do what they would like to do, and women who are encaged in whatever life situation they might have. And so that's really important. But the other wonderful thing that we're doing with this teaming and with this Indiegogo campaign is the more we can fund the season, the costs of the season, the more we can take our ticket revenue and give that right to these charities and really affect financial change for those charities. We can bring together the people who were there and were touched by the production, brought them to the charity, bring their issue to life for them, and then actually make a financial impact for those people. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Slipstream represents Detroit's aesthetic in that it's very raw, visceral, tense productions that we're putting out. We're producing classics, a classic city with a new attitude, new edge to it.
Ooh.
That's bringing out a new way of kind of coming at things. For us that live there, it's a very lively, thriving city. It's been growing massively over the past 5 to 10 years, and the future is bright. But on the outside, to people that are not from there, it's a little bit darker, a little bit grittier. And those are kind of how our shows reflect. They're a darker take, they're an updated version of a classic, and it's not just about the telling of the story. We're there to help each other grow as a community, because that's a lot of what we have for each other, is just to be there for one another, to help each other thrive and grow. And that's what we want to be for as a community and as a theater company, is to help one another see things we may not, or help each other through tough times in a non-direct way. Something that can really be a community base rather than just a spectacle.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the other exciting things for me is producing original works that were actually written here in Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, that directly reflects the Detroit artistic aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
It's original works from Detroit.
Yeah.
Made in Detroit.
Right.
And one of our charities is to benefit a talent scholarship at Wayne State, which is a Detroit school, which is a very, I coach high school seniors going off to BFA programs to the big schools, and Wayne State is not one that ever comes up. But Steve is a graduate of Wayne State, and I mean, I think half of our company members are. Yep. And it's a great program that gets overlooked because it's Detroit. I don't want to go to Detroit for acting school. But Detroit is becoming that. It is becoming, I hate to use the word renaissance, but there is a birth of some sort. And I think that we are doing that. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just painting it and making it spin pretty fast. And I think it's exciting, and I think it's relevant, and I think it is exactly what is happening, not just here in Detroit, but probably in a lot of cities that are considered, what words would you use to say Detroit is considered to outsiders, but, run down
On the upswing.
Right.
Yeah, we're
falling into decay.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah, we're rising above all of that, and I think that that's one thing that we are trying desperately to do. And you mentioned community. We are all about community. We have an incredible talent pool, and we have a great group of people that want to stay here, like Steve, Luna. That's why they are founding ensemble members, because they want to stay in Detroit and help make the art grow here. Slipstream was founded here, wants to stay here, and wants to keep people staying here, because there is so much going on at all times. Only problem with that is that we have a smaller talent pool, and we have a lot of companies that pop up or that exist already, and so we're all fighting for not only the same talent pool but the same audience base. So our idea to do off nights when other theaters aren't working is beneficial to the audiences because you're not torn on what to go see on Friday night because there are 35 things. But it's also beneficial to the artists because we can do more than one show. Yeah. Well, I think we all are at any given point, at least more than one. It's also beneficial to the other theater companies because, as Jen said, they get exposure when we're in their space, but we are not competing against them for actors or audience members. And so it is creating this feeling of community, and that's what we, that is what we need.
It's not a zero-sum game anymore.
Yeah.
It's win-win.
Yep.
Was that a sports reference?
No, it was a business reference.
It's a
Don't look
yes
to me
and
for
situation.
Vision business.
Right, there you go.
Bailey, why the classics?
Oh, I mentioned this with Ibsen. The classics in general, they're classics for a reason. Doll's House is always my favorite example, and we've kind of exhausted that. But, Luna said there were riots in the streets. The play was banned. It was this crazy, it was insane. It was, nowadays it is just nothing. So the playwright's intent was somehow over the years has been lost. I mean, The Winter's Tale, which is our opening show, is this really... Shakespeare has written one of the strongest female characters ever written in history, including current day playwrights who write really strong female characters because we have very strong females now.
Right.
But what does everyone remember from A Winter's Tale? A bear. So we are doing, we're looking at the play, we're looking at the intent of the play, and we're saying, well, why are we not focusing on this really, really strong woman who is beating the odds? So we're really trying to take a step back from what we have learned about these shows, like Taming of the Shrew. It's always, Kate is this shrew. But when you look at the text, she really isn't. She is when she's around certain people, but, she meets Petruchio, he melts her heart. It's never portrayed that way. It's always portrayed as him being a big bear. And maybe Winter's Tale and Shrew should switch
Smell
places.
a theme?
Yeah. Shakespeare wrote about bears.
His comedies, are you telling me his comedies are similar?
What? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Sorry. Our Taming of the Shrew takes a step back because gender roles in society are so different now than they were when he wrote that, and so we make Petruchio a bit of a softie, and we make Kate, we make her multifaceted, and you fall in love with them, and it's in the interpretation.
What about Hamlet?
Oh yeah, and our Hamlet is.
Yeah, I mean, I think our Hamlet is more interesting and exciting.
Luna, why Hamlet? Why?
There's something about the play, and there's something I think that you can say for all classics. It's when you get to read it and interpret it in your own way and try to figure out what the playwright was actually saying, it brings a passion out that you have to really work for and discover. It's not just easily, again, you have this two-dimensional character. Hamlet's probably the most complicated human that's been documented, I think, in a play. I'll say that. I mean, yeah, he's, when he's portrayed as a he, I think you can very easily say that, he has his own issues, his own feelings, his own problems. But when you take it from a woman's standpoint, I think Hamlet actually makes a lot more sense as a woman. Someone who is trying to think through these very complex emotions, betrayals, and life decisions. And when a male figure usually does that, he seems weak or ineffective, doesn't do, not an active person. When a female does that, and I think that's something we can definitely play with, or are going to be playing with Hamlet, it becomes more, what's the word I want to use? More responsible, almost. Hamlet is responsible for herself. and who she is, and she is trying to make the best decisions she possibly can, given the circumstances. And that's not something to eat that's easily, done by anybody. I mean, shit, Olivier or to Mel Gibson, but especially Mel Gibson. But but at the same time, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to kind of explore what that looks like, especially such a patriarchal play. See what women do in that situation, and how does that make that different? How does it make it relate more to you? Watching it now in the 21st century instead of, back in Shakespeare's day.
And along the lines of that, I speak English. For the younger generation that we are targeting, that we do hope will come and see our shows, Hamlet is going to be so empowering to young women to see this always portrayed as a male character. This prince, as a woman, as a very strong woman, surrounded by very strong women, and at the same time they're strong and they're vulnerable. But we have a generation of young men growing up now who are not being told to be a man. You have to be this, and when I was growing up, I didn't follow the rules, but I was told to be a man. You can't cry, and you have to be strong, and you have to all of this stuff. And I think that a female Hamlet is freeing almost for a male too, to be able to look at the vulnerabilities a female brings to the role of Hamlet and say, I could bring that too, that I have that in me.
Right.
And I'm hoping that we can help young people to cross that divide mentally and feel accepted, because we are taking risks that they may not be willing to take yet.
Yeah.
And showing them that it's okay to do so. That's why the Trevor Project is one of our charities. It's the only one that we're teaming with twice. And the Trevor Project is very much for young teens who are suicidal and are not comfortable in their skins, in their bodies, with who they are. And a lot of our shows touch that. They all touch on the human spirit and sort of owning yourself and being proud of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say about why the classics. And Bailey was
that's
saying
the original question.
they're classics for a reason, and they're classics because they're well written and they've been accepted that way, but because they touch on these truisms, and those truisms are there regardless of the era. And we may look at them a little differently. They may apply to us today slightly differently, but they are true
For everyone.
for every century.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to see that universal truth come through for us.
I think we're a company that knows its own worth, and we know our value. What we're trying to offer is something that's not pretentious, something that doesn't try to scold or to tell you how to feel. We show you something that we've taken from these old stories that everybody can relate to. And the fact that they're old doesn't mean that they are, the play you saw once in high school and that's it. Thank God you never have to see Hamlet again. Or Romeo and Juliet. Or whatever, old plays you remember reading from your high school reading list. But this is an opportunity for people to actually see something that connects to their lives. And maybe we can go ahead and offer something, offer a solution, offer an idea or a thought or a quote that sticks in their head for a day or two and makes their day better or worse or more important. Either way, what we're trying to do, I think, in general, is offer something, a look at life that maybe you couldn't see anywhere else.
Yeah. And in that vein, it's not, we're not spoon feeding people answers. We don't have answers necessarily. We're just providing a perspective. And if that's something that speaks to you, being able to formulate your own answer to that question is far more valuable than somebody telling you the answer and be like, this is the way it is. Well, that doesn't work across the board for everybody. What if it's this? What if it's something different? We leave that option for self-discovery there for ourselves and for the audience. And I think that is extremely valuable to where we are as a group, not only as an ensemble, but as a community in a city where we are right now is
Absolutely.
we have each other and we only have options, and what is true to us is what's going to be what we act on.
Right. I think that being a part of, a city that's trying to rediscover its identity and trying to figure out what that looks like, it's a really great time to be a new young theater company, kind of trying to do the same thing, just trying to find out for ourselves and our audiences, who are we? What are we really trying to say?
And I love that you say we're a new young theater company trying to discover who we are. Because what I don't think we are is a company that says, hey, we're doing something no one else is. We're super special. This is all unique. It's never been done. No, I'm sure it has been done. I'm sure a lot of it has, but it hasn't been done by us, and we haven't thoroughly thought it through. And each individual person, each individual artist, each individual audience member is different. That's the meaning of the word individual. So when you bring a bunch of individuals together, it may have been done before. There are other female Hamlets. It doesn't mean it's done the way we are doing it in an asylum that's actually a school, and you have to follow Hamlet around and kind of see where her journey takes you as an audience member, and you never get to sit. Which has probably been done before, but have you gone to one?
But now it's coming to an asylum near you. So.
We'd like to talk a little bit about the Indiegogo campaign. We are trying to pre-fund our entire season. We'll be producing 8 shows during the season. Each show runs about, on average, 14 performances. The budget for each show is roughly $4,000, 90% of which goes directly to the artists. We are very careful to not spend money on stuff that we don't have to. We like to keep lightweight and be very smart about what we buy so that we can really focus all our financials on the guys in a gender-neutral term.
Appreciate you.
We've been moving really fast. Bailey and I started talking about the company in mid-April of 2014. We were incorporated early May, and we got our nonprofit status at the end of June.
6 weeks.
So in 6 weeks, we got that. It was pretty remarkable. And we have been spending a lot of time raising funds to cover a lot of the startup costs, getting a lot of the business kind of things going, and trying to support the actors as best as we can. And we've had a season preview here, and that gave us a chance to make the very cool preview video montage that you can see.
I'm in that too.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say.
Anyway, so we've been fundraising to cover those kind of costs. The cost of getting the 50, to become a nonprofit costs some money. And right now we would like to cover the costs of the season in advance, so that we can ensure we can keep our ticket prices low so that everyone can come. We want to really engage the community, keep the ticket prices low and get everyone there, and B, so that we can financially support the charities. So that's really the motivation behind the Indiegogo campaign. Get all the expenses covered so that we can focus on the community outreach and the community service aspect of what we're doing. So roughly, it would be a $32,000 budget. 8 times 4, that's 32. And yeah, you got to carry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's where I went wrong.
Yeah.
So whatever we can get, we can cover of those costs now through this campaign. Really just makes our outreach more possible.
And I'll say, as a working actor, when you're balancing 2 waitressing jobs on top of trying to learn your lines and this and that, and I'm sure any person who's ever done theater is well aware, and even people who haven't, it's extremely difficult, and it's hard to dedicate as much time and energy as you want to on a part or a show, doing your own research, all that fun and exciting stuff. So getting, the opportunity to say, I'm a paid working actor from Detroit, Michigan is a fantastic opportunity. And it's something that a lot of my friends in New York or LA can't say right now. And so personally, I'm pretty thrilled about it. And I think it's important.
Equally so, if you can say that you're sustaining your life as a working actor is even more unique, is even more individual. It's very rare, especially in Detroit. Like to have a company where that's your livelihood is near non-existent in our area right now. And to be able to create an ensemble that is self-sustaining, that helps to reach out to the community, sustain community work, sustain ourselves as an ensemble as well as individuals, is almost unfathomable.
Without forcing people to pay $45 for a ticket.
Right, while maintaining low ticket costs. We want to make it accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
For non-theater goers or for the avid theater goer, no matter your level of interest, we want you to be able to be there because we're there for you. Like the audience is why we're here. It's not just to play for ourselves. It's not rewarding.
Fun
in
as
the
that
least.
is.
No. Yeah, and our ticket prices are never going to go above $10. That's something that we set, and there's a reason for that. It's because it should be affordable. We have a punch card program, which is if you come to the winter sale and you bring your little card and you pay your $10, you will get a punch, which means any of the next shows you want to come to, the next 7 shows in our season, you come for free. Buy one, get one free. A lot of theaters will do buy one, get one half off for the same show. I personally love my theater friends. I love Luna and I love Steve, and I will go see everything they do, but I'll see it once. And that's because, that's basically usually all I can afford unless I'm comped. But so I'm not going to want to see a show twice, but I am going to go back to that company and go, hey, now I can go see the show for free. Or I can take a friend and we can split the cost and each pay $5 and still have a night of theater. When Jen and I were coming up with the business model of this, I was the one, because I've been an actor struggling, for longer than I'll care to admit. And it was very important to me that the artists were paid well. And there are a lot of people who don't know the workings of theater, and they think, actors must be, it's the glitz and the glamour of being on stage. And it's not. I just read this article that was heartbreaking about this woman who had been an equity actress for years in Seattle and finally just had to give it up, and her part-time job became her full-time job because she could not sustain a living. And the man went on to quote that actors are a dime a dozen now, that companies have taken over and theaters are being run for audiences that will afford to shell out $50, $60 a ticket. Well, that's not the average 17 to 25-year-old. And so their money is being spent on the spectacle. It's not being spent on the artist. So you're getting a spectacle, but it's becoming a dying art because we're not bringing in the newer generation. So that's what also helped us decide that mobility was key. In being mobile, not only does it take our costs down and allow us to focus on the artist, but it does everything we've been talking about. It leaves a lot to the imagination. It doesn't mean you're coming into something barren, but it means you're coming into the halls. It forces us to think outside the box. It means you're coming into the halls of what is during the day a high school, and you're coming at night and you're seeing it as an asylum for girls, and you're seeing Hamlet. We wouldn't have come to that if we, had a huge budget and our focus was set. Costume-wise, we're having to really think about what are we doing. Our costume budgets are here, our set budgets are here, and it's making us really have to think, how can we do this differently? How can we bring the playwright's intent to the surface? How can we bring relevance and current issues to the surface? How can we make this attainable to young people? How can we do it all for $100 so that our artists can be paid and appreciate what they're doing and feel appreciated? And that's where we came up with our business model and our budget per show.
It's a cake budget. Not much icing, a lot of cake.
Thanks, guys.
I'm an icing guy, but I guess this is good. I mean, I'll eat anything sweet. Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts?
Let them eat cake. We're really, really excited to be here. And we're thrilled that you guys have the opportunity to go ahead and connect with us and see something that is new and fresh and, again, honest. And we hope you guys take that opportunity and check us out and give us a shot. We're happy and thrilled to be here.
Closing thoughts?
That was very well put. I'm very much on the same page, and that I'm very thrilled to be part of this. I'm very excited to be part of a group that's so inclusive, that is non-competitive, not necessarily non-competitive, but is much more inclusive in that we're not layering over other competitors. We're not fighting for the same people. We want to spread to whoever wants to be there. It's not exclusive to can you afford it? Are you interested 100% in our subject matter? The subject matter is so it's so conceptual that there's some grain of truth to anyone that will come to see it. Mm-hmm. And where that resonates within the individual is where we all come to find each other and to find ourselves. And that's where I'm very what I'm very thrilled to be part of is exploring one another, exploring myself, and being able to connect with those of us that show up.
And I'm excited about people donating to the campaign. Check out the sponsorship levels and donate what you can so that we can help our community and we can help our artists in Detroit. If you click on the sponsorship levels, they'll all be there. There'll be different perks at the different levels, and we will be running through the beginning of January. And I'm excited about this campaign.
So there you have our closing thoughts. You can visit us online at www. People don't say that anymore, do they? They just say, no. Okay. You can visit us online at slipstreamti.com. There are all the different levels of sponsorship on there as well if you miss it on the Indiegogo campaign for whatever reason. You can also find us on the Twitter and on the Facebook. I don't do the social. She does the social media stuff. We've got a.
You still on
we have
MySpace?
a Facebook. Stop. MySpace.
Okay, let's check.
No. So wait. No, we have a website, slipstreamti.com, and Facebook. Find us on Slipstream Theater Initiative. You can send me a message. I will always respond because I'm lonely. And there is a Snapchat and a Pinterest and a
Instagram.
the Instagram.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All of these, you can find us. She knows about that. But what we're really excited about is, honestly, we're asking for your support because if we can get our season pre-funded, yes, our actors are covered, our shows are covered. But that means that we won't have to do this again in the future. It means that each season it'll get easier and easier because ticket sales themselves, first of all, it means that we don't have to maintain a set amount of ticket sales to continue what we do and continue giving to the actors and to the charities. It just means we can give more to the charities and that we can fund next season. And whether it's $5 that you give or $5,000, every penny of that is going to this company, these actors, these charities, this community. And it's ensuring the future of this community, the artistic community. It's saying that when your 14-year-old says they want to be an actor and they decide they want to go to Wayne State and we're still here in 5 years, it means that there's a company waiting for them that offers them that same exact thing. That's where your money goes. It doesn't, we're not saying, hey, help us because we're too lazy to do it. It's to ensure that we won't have to do this year after year and that we can, be a sustaining company and we can be a sustaining community, and we can live up to the potential that we are setting for ourselves, which is really, really high. And that's because we are all people of a certain level of artistic integrity, I think. Back to the honesty word. Also, if you would like to donate, if there's a specific charity you would like to donate to, as each show is set to a different charity, feel free to put that in your notes. You can do that when you type on the line. I'm 50. I'm 50.
I was just gonna say. Oh my
I'm
God.
50. If you got that, you're also 50. Okay. No, if you would like to donate to, say, the Lighthouse Foundation specifically, or the Trevor Project specifically, or the Kyle Holton Memorial Scholarship Fund at Wayne State specifically, you can put that in your notes, and we'll be sure that the proper amount goes to that charity specifically. I said specifically 5 times in a sentence, which means we are done talking, but we thank you for your time, and we really, really appreciate the support, not just for us, but for the arts in general.